Welcome back, everybody. Today we're here to talk about The Walking Dead Season 10, and we're going to be looking at another table read that we have for the episode, and I believe this is for episode 21. We're going to be looking at the table read and talking about what they said, but we're also going to be looking at the titles and the synopsis that we had for the second or the third half, I guess you could say, for Season 10. And because there were two episodes that do mention Carol and Daryl, so we're going to go ahead and talk about those as well. Before I do get into it, I do want to give a general spoiler warning in case you aren't caught up or anything like that. And then also, I'm going to be doing a Q&A pretty soon since the year is coming to an end and all the Walking Dead shows are on break. I have a post in the community section of my channel. If you have any questions that you want me to answer in a video, definitely leave them there and I'll be answering them in a video coming out pretty soon. Also, if you are a fan of The Walking Dead, be sure to subscribe. Other than that, let's get into the video. Alright, so this table read, again, I believe it is for episode 21, but episode 21 isn't the only time we're seeing Carol and Daryl. I think we'll see them in episode 17, but also episode 18 is a pretty big Daryl and Carol episode. So I want to go ahead and read the synopsis that we have for that episode because it'll help us better understand what is going on in episode 21. So episode 18, in that episode, it says, the episode title is called Find Me, and it says, an adventure for Carol and Daryl turns sideways when they come across an old cabin. It takes Daryl back to the years where he left the group after Rick disappeared, as he relives a time that only the apocalypse could manifest. So that sounds like a pretty good episode. It looks like Daryl's gonna be remembering Rick, and we have seen Daryl go out and look for Rick and stuff like that, but I think it's gonna be pretty cool. If I don't know if they're gonna find out if Rick is alive. That would be really cool. I think Daryl will eventually find out, especially since Judith knows. But I think that they would want to save that for season 11, or closer to the end of the show, because if they tell Daryl now that Rick is alive, I'm sure he would be really focused on that, and I don't think they would want that because the Commonwealth are coming to the show, and I'm sure they want Daryl to be involved in that. But the point is, he is going to be remembering Rick, and it'll be interesting if you remember something or thinks about or finds something of Rick's. I think that would be pretty cool. But yeah, you can see here that Daryl and Carol, they're having an adventure. So they're spending time together in this episode, and then if you go to episode 21, it says this. So episode 21, the title is Diverged, and it says Carol and Daryl come to a fork in the road and head their separate ways, each going into their own type of survival mode. The easiest of challenges become much harder. Where will their individual journeys be the tipping point needed to mend their friendship, or is the distance between them permanent? Alright, so this is an interesting synopsis. So looking back at episode 18, again, they were on an adventure. I'm assuming they're probably like scavenging or something like that. We saw the same thing with Aaron and Gabriel in episode 19, where they were in a warehouse looking for food. So I think maybe the group split up and they're just because they're trying to repair everything after the Whisper arc. And then in episode 21, they come to a fork in the road and they go their separate ways. So I think they're going to get into some sort of argument or disagreement or something like that, because it's saying that will their individual journeys, mend their friendships, or will it prove that the distance between them is permanent? So that's interesting. So when looking at the actual table read, we have Carol and Daryl here. Kari Payton is also there, and then also Cooper Andrews. Cooper Andrews isn't in this scene, but Kari Payton is narrating. So let me go ahead and read what happened. So basically, they're in Alexandria, and it says Daryl's covered in mud, motor oil, and walker gore. And Carol says, "What the hell happened to you?" And Daryl says, "I was going to ask you the same thing." Because Carol's covered in drywall, plaster dust. Her skin is streaked with sweat, and it says they look like they've been through hell. And then Daryl was gonna say something, and then Carol says, "You don't have to apologize. I'm good, really." And then Daryl says, "I was just gonna wish you luck." And then Kari Payton, continuing to narrate, says, "Without any further word, they each take different paths." Alright, so a couple interesting things here. So first of all, you can see that there is some tension between them, or you can see that there's something did happen between them, because they were separated, obviously, because Carol was like, what the hell happened to you? And Daryl was going to ask the same thing, and they're both like covered in dirt and stuff like that. And I think that goes back to the synopsis, where they had to go their separate ways. Now, I don't know if it's happening twice or what, because at the end there, Kari Payton narrating says they each take different paths, and then Daryl says, I was just gonna wish you luck. So I'm thinking that they are just out in the woods, wilderness, scavenging, looking for supplies and stuff like that. I don't know like how much Commonwealth, because we know the Commonwealth is associated with, you know, Ezekiel and Jerry and Princess and Yumiko and them over there. So I think this main group back home, I think the extra 6 episode is going to be focusing a lot on character stuff. Like we have that Negan flashback episode, right? Like I think there's going to be a lot of character stuff. I think there's going to be some plots with the Maggie and Negan stuff. Also, we had that new character played by Robert Patrick who runs into Gabriel and Aaron. So we are going to have some new character stuff as well. But I do think that there's going to be a lot of internal stuff going on as well. And I think that's going to be happening with these two. And I think this is pretty good because I'm sure in season 11, they would really want to focus on the Commonwealth, right? So now is a good time because they were just dealing with the Whispers for so long. So now is a good time to reflect back on everything and, you know, go back to some good character moments. And I think this is happening with Daryl and Carol. They obviously get into some sort of argument or disagreement, but I'm sure they're going to be okay. You know, like I think by the end of the episode, they'll get back together. I mean, they're having a spin-off, right? So it's not like Daryl and Carol are not gonna, you know, be okay at the end there. And even in the table read, you can see that they're not like that upset at each other. They're just some disagreements, right? Like Carol's like, you don't have to apologize, I'm good, because I'm sure Daryl was gonna say like, are you okay? So they deeply care for each other. So I don't think it's gonna be like that big of a deal, but more of a, you know, moment for them to separate and just focus on themselves for a while. And you can actually see them in the little trailer that we had for episode or season 10C. I'll go ahead and talk a little bit about some of the parts we do see them. Like we can see Daryl here by himself. You know, he killed a walker. You know, so again, it seems here that he's by himself. I don't know exactly where he is. It looks like it's these look like big crates or something like that. I'm interested in seeing if he might go after Ezekiel and them who got kidnapped. But, well, I don't know if I want to say. Yeah, I guess they got kidnapped by the Commonwealth. I mean, they got put behind those trucks. So I think he might become suspicious and go after them. But the point I'm trying to make here is that you can see that Daryl has dirt on him. He's by himself. So, you know, I think these episodes are going to be about, and we haven't really seen Daryl reflecting too much on himself in a while, you know, because they've been so occupied with the Rick stuff and season 9, the Savior stuff, and then the Whisper stuff. And now would be a good time to reflect back on everything that happened, right? Like a lot of good character stuff could come out of this. And that's what makes me interested in the episode 18 as well, where it says that Daryl remembers Rick. So I'm really excited to see what that is all about. You can see there's a scene of Carol in this field. There's some smoke around her. So again, you don't see Daryl anywhere around. I mean, you don't really see anybody around her. I think Carol may have a connection with Negan this season, because I remember, you know, she did make Negan a promise to help him out. So I think that episode where Negan is going to reflect on his past and we're going to get to hear his Negan stuff, I think Carol may be involved in that somehow, because the synopsis for episode 22 did say like Carol and Negan take a journey. So I think he's probably in this. I wouldn't be surprised if Negan is in the cell because of the Maggie stuff, and then Carol takes him out and they go somewhere. And then we have this scene with Jerry giving Carol a hug. This seems to be a pretty sad scene. You know, Carol looks visibly upset here. It looks like she's crying. And this could be a couple things. I think it could be that Carol is just frustrated with everything going on and Jerry is there to comfort her. Or maybe, you know, they find out about Ezekiel and Carol is very worried. Because I am thinking they will eventually, you know, figure out, probably by the end of the 6 episodes, I think they'll be suspicious or something like that, because this is setting up season 11. And I think that maybe, you know, she did figure out that they're missing now. they didn't return back home. They can't, come into contact with them. And she's just really upset because they just dealt with the Whispers and all these stuff, and now they have to deal with the Commonwealth. But as you can see, these extra 6 episodes are going to be focusing on character stuff, particularly episode 18 and 21. I'm excited to see what is going on with Carol and Daryl. Again, I don't think it's going to be anything too major. Like, I'm sure they'll be okay. It's just a moment for them to separate and just reflect on themselves. But yeah, there you guys go. I wanted to talk about this table read that we had for episode 21. Hopefully they release one for episode 22 pretty soon. That is the Here's Negan episode. I'm pretty excited for that one. But yeah, you guys let me know your thoughts and opinions about the table read, and what do you think is happening between Carol and Daryl in these episodes. But again, I'm gonna wrap it up there. Hopefully you guys did enjoy the video. If you did, be sure to leave a like rating, and for more Walking Dead videos, just be sure to subscribe. Again, I'm gonna be doing a Q&A soon, so if you have any questions, be sure to leave them in the community section of my channel underneath the post I made. But as always, guys, thank you guys for watching. Please stay safe, and I'll see you guys soon.